he said he was in the waist area, and then the defendant may have, or Trayvon Martin may have slid down. And my question to you is, would it be consistent, the 90 degrees, if Trayvon Martin had been backing up and the defendant raised his gun and shot at 90 degrees?
With you at that angle? 90 degrees to what, sir? When you talk about 90 degrees, we're talking about this degree.
Right.
So if it's front to back 90 degrees and you're standing there and you're holding the gun up, already you're at least 45 degrees where you are because he's laying flat on the ground.
Back with my co-host Jenny Hutt, and here now is a look at the courthouse. We are on verdict watch in the George Zimmerman trial. We will keep you posted the moment we hear anything about the jury and where they're at. They're still deliberating, apparently. They've been at it for more than 15 hours. We are joined by a guest whom you will not see anywhere else. He was a key witness, Dennis Root, the man who prompted the mannequin to make the appearance in the courtroom. This was Mr. Root's first trial as a paid expert witness. He is the president of Dennis Root and Associates. Also here with us, Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Copeland will join us in this conversation. All right, Dennis, the state came after you. They attacked your credibility. Seemed to me like that was sort of prosecution 101, but it surprised you, did it not?
It took me off guard a little bit in the manner in which they had done it. It's expected every time that you testify in court that one side each has their strategy, and I was a little taken back by the manner in which he did it, but you know, it's to be expected. What
was it that bothered you?
I think what bothered me most was the fact that he tried to make an issue out of the fact that I went to the defense to make it into just a media issue. You know, common sense says that yes, this will be a case that's followed very closely by the media, but as I pointed out in the trial during my testimony, I needed to make sure that whoever I approached gave me the best opportunity to serve justice. And the reality was, if I went to the state and I decided that, well, wait, I couldn't help them, that was it. It was over from that point. However, by going to the defense, by going into that side, if I had come to the conclusion that, wow, I can't help them, I could step away from the case and I would not hinder either side. The truth is, the state has access to experts like myself.
Mark, did you have a question, Mr. Root?
I do. Dennis, didn't you think for one moment to answer the question like the following? Yes, I know that the media is watching, and yes, it would be great for my business. That's absolutely one of the reasons why I'm part of this. Why don't you just say that? Because I think that that's part of the truth, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, it's part of the truth. But I guess one of the things you could say very simply is this was the first time that I had testified in front of a jury in this way. It was also in front of camera, so I guess maybe there was a little bit of stress induced from that. And, you know, we look back at everything and we always imagine, man, I wish I could have said it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's the way courtrooms really put a pressure cooker. They really put everybody under a microscope. Dennis, what did you make of the mannequin when it showed up?
At first, I was very taken off guard by it. I understood its utilization as a visual aid. The downside to the use of it was it wasn't dynamic like the event unfolds, and we were doing basically stop capture type movements. Put you in this position, could you get to it? So really, you know, trying to be a neutral person, I answered each question as accurately as I could, given the reference that I was being given.
Brian, I understand you had some issues with Mr. Root. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Root. The one part of your testimony I had problem with is you created what I have coined the wuss defense, and that is that George Zimmerman was too big of a wuss to be able to fight Trayvon Martin by himself without using a gun. He had no choice. Now, I'll ask you the question I asked Mr. Taffy the other night, and that is, I've got a son who is Trayvon's age. I am 20 years older than Mr. Zimmerman. In a fair fight, he's Trayvon's age, Trayvon's size, weight. In a fair fight, I could take that kid without pulling out a gun. So I have a problem with you saying that there's no way that George Zimmerman, in his shape at that time, could have done that. I find that really hard to believe.
And I can respect your perspective on that. And the truth is, you know, maybe you have more faith in your abilities. Maybe you have something that George Zimmerman doesn't have. All I can do is base my opinions off the information that I'm given. And what I try to do is approach everything from a neutral perspective. And the reality comes down to not everybody has that fighting spirit. And in this case, you know, when we talk about the ultimate end of how the encounter ended, it was about what was inside George Zimmerman's head. And that's what I was forming my opinions to.
Jenny, I know you have a question. To control, do I have enough time for Jenny to ask something? Okay, Jenny, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, did you sense anything from the jury, which way they were leaning? Did they seem more engaged on toward either side?
You know, being my first jury in this setting, it was one of the first juries I've ever seen that took so many notes during a testimony. There was a lot of recognition, at least from my perspective. There was a lot of head nodding. There was a lot of note taking. But, you know, if there's anything I've learned in my career as a law enforcement professional, with a jury, you never know.
Okay, we must go to break. The jury has been deliberating for 16 hours now. We are on verdict watch. We will bring you the latest as we get it. And later, Miss Aliv joins the Behavior Bureau to respond to her critics. We're back after this.
I didn't know Autotrader.com had new cars. But what kind of deal can I get?
On Autotrader.com, you can now compare brand new cars from local dealers and special offers.
That one.
So you can find the one new car your head and heart can agree on.
Whoa.
Autotrader.com.
We now offer phone service as low as $1.70 a month with Magic Jack Plus. That's $19.95 a year. No computer needed. Nothing changes. And now keep your old phone number. That's right. Keep your old phone number. Get Magic Jack Plus at CVS.
On January 31st, 1874, the Gads Hill, Missouri train robbery took place by the notorious Jesse James gang, robbing passengers clean of gold bars, jewelry, and guns. Among the stolen treasures on that fateful day was the conductor Mr. C.A. Alfred's own pocket watch, made by elite master craftsmen of the day. Legend tells this beautifully handmade timepiece was returned by Jesse James himself to record the event in history. We are proud to present the limited edition Kansas City Railroad Pocket Watch. Certified by the American Historic Society, this beautifully intricate timepiece commemorates the Old West in all its glory. Handsomely adorned with beautiful round silver-tone bezel and intricately cut case and back to reveal its captivating skeleton movement, this complexity of springs, sprockets, cogs, and gears is mesmerizing, sure to make a statement wherever it's worn. The Kansas City Railroad Pocket Watch features a sturdy butterfly hinge and brilliant silver-tone stem wind and stem set for accurate battery-free performance day and night. Skilled artisans and master craftsmen have complemented this nostalgic pocket watch with perfectly paired pocket chain and fob, both in stunning silver tone. Now you can celebrate the beauty and intricacy of this astounding timepiece for the low price of $29.99. Each Kansas City Railroad Pocket Watch comes complete with certificate of authenticity. We are proud to make this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, certified by the American Historic Society, available only for a limited time. So call or click now and reserve yours today for the incredible TV price of $29.99. The Kansas City Railroad Pocket Watch is also available in beautiful yellow gold tone.
Call 1-800-445-7324 to order your Kansas City Railroad Pocket Watch. But hurry, quantities are limited, so call now. 1-800-445-7324. That's 1-800-445-7324. Call now.
Back with my co-host Jenny Hutt. Here now is a look at the courthouse. Let's put that up there. We are on verdict watch in the George Zimmerman trial. We will keep you posted the moment we hear something from the jury. Of course, that jury is still deliberating at it for 16 hours now. HLN host Mike Galanos is at the courthouse. Is there anything now going on that you can report to us, Galanos?
Pretty quiet, Drew. I'm on this fifth floor. I just looked down near where George Zimmerman's family supporters are. His father is pacing up and down the hallway. His mom trying to relax and have a sip of water. There's a heaviness there and a tension really throughout this courthouse. I'm looking outside. And one thing that I was just talking to an officer, and it was surprising that they haven't turned on more lights because there are some people here, hard to gauge how many folks, but those are just some of the few things we're monitoring here. And if anything happens, I'm right back with you, Drew.
Thank you, Mike. Stand by. I'll go to you the moment you have anything to tell us. We are back with our guest, key defense witness Dennis Root, and Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Copeland. Okay, so, Mark, biggest problem you felt with Dennis's testimony? Anything?
Well, the natural built-in bias, I already raised that, and I think that he kind of regrets it. If he could do it over, he'd look at them and say, sure, I wanted some of the fame that goes along with this. There's nothing wrong with that. The other thing, though, I wanted to know is he said that the jurors were receptive and they were taking notes. I'm wondering if he, we generally know whether we're being received positively or not. Did he get a gut feeling that when they were writing notes when he was speaking, that it was like a favorable vibe? Because this whole case hinges now on whether George was justified in using deadly force.
Dennis?
You know, it's interesting you point that out because I've been asked that by just about everybody, and I always try to stay very reserved. But the reality was, while I was speaking with the jury, and I did everything I could to maintain eye contact with them because they're the people I'm speaking to, and I had a lot of people nodding their heads. Some of them smiled at me during the testimony. I felt as though they understood what I was saying. So in that perspective, I really think that the defense was able to deliver information through me that maybe they either didn't see or didn't understand completely to that point.
Brian.
Well, Mr. Root, some analysts say that you helped the defense and others say that you helped the prosecution. Since you were, in fact, a hired gun for the defense, if Mr. Zimmerman is convicted, are you going to do any soul searching or maybe second guess your testimony or think maybe there were things you said you shouldn't have or things you shouldn't have, that you didn't say that you should have?
No, and the reason I say that is when you point out something great that I was, you know, beneficial to both sides because the truth is the truth. When you're asked a question as an expert witness, if it's a possibility, you have to say it's a possibility. I've done everything I can to be as neutral as possible. I don't see a bias from how I viewed the case and looked through all the information and reviewed all the evidence. So at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I did everything that I could as an expert witness based on my training, background, and experience that I could in this case.
And Jenny, I know you want to ask something.
I do. So you'll be okay if they come back with either a guilty verdict for murder two or a guilty verdict for manslaughter?
No, I don't want to make it, that's not what I meant at all. I mean, in my opinion, I think that he should be acquitted. That's my opinion. You know, I've done everything that I can. Everything that we do, when we look back, we can always find something, just like I was speaking with Mark, you know, we can always look back and say how we could have made better phrase something. I don't want to give the impression that I'd be fine with no matter what the verdict is.
Very quickly, Control, do we have any calls for Mr. Root? And I wonder if Miss Ali has any questions for him. I know she is standing by. Is she available? Miss Ali, have you been listening to Mr. Root and what he was saying about the testimony? I'm just curious if you have anything you'd like to ask him. Are you available there?
Well, I think that, you know, there's been a question about whether or not Zimmerman will be safe if he is found not guilty. And what, you know, kind of jeopardy would that put him in? I think he'll be safer than I will be when I leave the studio to go get my car in the garage. But
Miss Ali, first of all, I certainly hope not. But B, my understanding in Mr. Root is that this is no laughing matter for you, that people have actually threatened you as well.
Yes, everybody talks about the media coverage, and I can tell you for a fact that I've gotten extensive negative comments from people as well as positive, but I've also received death threats.
Where? Like on your Twitter or phone, or where? How does this come through to you?
Via the email system on our website. They basically use the contact us form to create their emails directly to the company, which comes to me, obviously, and they relate the information to me in a harsh way.
Now, Miss Ali and Brian, well, Miss Ali, let me go to you. You're the one that's saying all these inflamed passions are a good thing, but it doesn't let our system operate if people can't testify in court without fear of their life.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think that, you know, every time over the years that we have gone to court, our lives have always been in jeopardy. They're in jeopardy before we go to court and when we come out. And let me say this to Mark while we have him there. These crowns that I wear are a designation that I am a queen, the queen of the universe and the mother of civilization. And I didn't appreciate him making an insult to me, Dr. Drew. I want you to get my back with him.
Okay.
Because he made an insult.
Mark,
It was not crack
hang on.
about something that's very
hold on.
serious.
Two things.
Mark, apology be awesome.
While I don't agree with most of the things that flows from her lips, the acknowledgement about the hat was not derogatory. It's all love.
And
it's
therefore,
all peace.
Yes, it
so
was.
if I offended you, I apologize, Madam Queen.
Thank you. Okay, guys.
Let's all join hands and sing We Are the World.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen right now.
Come on.
I'm just saying.
She took offense to the hat?
Hang on, Mark. She's going to take offense to that now, too. So your apology.
It's not a hat, it's a crown.
Everybody. Mr. Root, thank you for joining us. This has been exclusive on our show, and I appreciate you being here. And we will see. We will see the outcome of your testimony in...
Thanks for having me on with royalty, by the way. Thank you.
Mark, easy. Easy. She wants me to...
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.
The jury's been deliberating for 16 hours, guys. We are on Verdict Watch. We will bring you the latest when we get it. And next, Miss Ali joins her critics and supporters in the Behavior Bureau. Be right back.